tell, then you see the road. I'm out to my soul into the sides whenever the smoke clear out of my face and my picture perfect. Do it. All of that green together, the truth, yeah. Tell you the
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to Cypherfics. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 7th part of, What If My Little Pony Meets BEN10? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of JBoy44 on fanfictionnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Ben was watching Simeon form the shadows as Chameleon vanishing as he crawled on the walls thinking, come on come one. That is when he pulled a box out of a compartment on a Tekadon and Chameleon's tail blade unseen moved and hit open and out popped a baby Lowoden. In a moment Ben appeared and tackled the monkey, kidnapping you sick F. He hit the dial turning into Spider Monkey. The monkeys locked arms as Ben used his tail to go ultimate and spit webs onto the bad monkey. Bad monkey, he then grabbed and span the cocoon monkey around like a flail over his head before smacking him into the cold hard ground, bad monkey. The little Lowoden hovered over making ultimate spider monkey become ultimate wrath. The ultimate tiger alien said, let me tell you 5 things monkey man. He threw him into a wall and started punching the trapped monkey. This is your 3rd strike, so plumber brutality not a thing here, so I can break you in half monkey man. The monkey was crying in his webbed up state as wrath kept hitting the bag. 2nd thing. Bad monkey bad monkey. Next he did an automix elbow drop on the cocoon. 3rd. Your as is mine, the tiger sighed as he bite the cocoon and shock it around with his head before slamming it against the wall with a spit. He then popped his claws and cut open it to show a black and blue bad money, thing number 4. IF hate you. He then spat on him. Finally the ultimate finished his rant. Lastly. Arjit set you up to fall, he told me to spy and see and I did. Now you ready to come quietly to the lockup or do I have to hurt you more? The monkey groaned, if my arms weren't broken I would have them out saying cuff me officer. He then blacked out. Later on Ben was watching the kid be returned to his parents and he walked off finally timing out his wrath. I have a son, god damn it. I should have nuttered the monkey so he couldn't. Arjit heard that and backed up, damn Ben you are scaring me man. Ben hit a button to turn into pterosaur and he roared making Arjit scream as he saw his worst nightmare and Ben said, I have not yet begun to scare you on to the truly honest straight and narrow path. He then flew off. Arjit meanwhile fell over, rolled into a ball and wet his pants while shaking and whimpering. Meanwhile, Twilight was on a web call with Cinnamon as she said, how is it going there cousin? Cinnamon Tennyson said, pretty good, you all saved my business and I meet this pony guy. Soren. So things are great for me. The purple lady then rolled her eyes, yeah that's Dashy's ex. Cinnamon smirked and said, then I know how to go through to know all his weakness to use to get him wrapped around my finger in no time. The princess of friendship blinked as she adjusted her seat on the couch as she said. Okay, you are who you were meant to be, girl. But yeah. The transgender cousin then asked, how goes trying to go to a space collage? Twilight sighed, not good. I tried but they keep rejecting me for being too unknown to the universe. I am not unknown, my kind were made by ancient magical humans with plans for us to show up, evolve to anthro upon arrival on Earth and interbreed with humans to restore their magic. I am no different than mechamorphs or the Vreedles, she shivered at the compare. Cinnamon sighed, yeah being like the Vreedles that has got to SCK. Just hearing it made me feel sick, she said holding her stomach, now if you don't mind. I have a boyfriend to meet, she hung up. The purple mare laid down with her laptop on her stomach as she looked something up, how to get rid of I am like them stomach ache. Search. Oh okay then. Meanwhile in the universe an explosion had cost Pa Vreedle his loot. He sighed reaching out his window to grab a crystal, well got one. Seals who was driving, PA that is the 5th time this week you messed up on your explosions. Perry grumbled as Pa understood it, he sighed, you is right son. I've hit the wall. The time when I am too old and no longer puts together tight enough to do what I love correctly's no more. My old head just can't do the math on how to make it big but not so big it screws me over anymore. Seal's look said, "Oh Pa, don't tell me we need TPO puts you out to pasture yet." Pa point to her and said, "Now honey buns, it's not that bad. I just need someone who can double check and I hate to say this math that goes into it. To catch my old timer slip ups. Now I knows neither of you do is good at math." The two kids nodded and Pa sighed. "That means we have to look for other Ken Folky with pulls us into the most desperate of desperate measures." They both gasped as he said, "I have to make up with your ma." Perry made a grumble and Seal said, "Yeah, Pa gots to agree with brother here. That little crystal ain't going to be enough." Up and gone Vreedle laughed, "She doesn't got to know this is all I gots to my name. Wees will just lie and say this worked off and I am flush." He then laughed heavily. Meanwhile at Ben's house. Jessica was walking past Kenny playing with wooden blocks as she picked up her sword off the wall and said, "The sword calls to me, I am going to have to stab an as who is going to use the woman he loves. It tells me this." She then got a call from M.A. Vreedle who said, "My baby daddy is coming to town." Jessica then said, "Oh, that explains why Maya's needs to be stabbed sense went off." Ma Vreedle laughed as she said, "That right there is why we is best friends. But the pretty boys ain't never seen their pa. All kid needs day with both their parents at least once or at least a day with both. It's only right. But keep the sword close, we wills probably need to stab him." Jessica nodded as she said, "Ben will be home in 10 minutes. How long before Pa Vreedle shows up with your two kids he has with him?" Ma Vreedle then looked at the clock. "Oh, about an hour or two. Depends on if they need to stop to use the can." The mermaid smiled, "Great, I will be there with Ben." The city was in chaos. Vreedles were everywhere running wild thanks to Pa Vreedle. Jessica was holding Kenny talking to Ma Vreedle, "You know this isn't right. And he is lying." Ma Vreedle turned, "You knows that I knows that. Your husband knows that. My kids they don't know that's. And me and their pa are saying two different things. So they get to pick a parent to listen to. And they are going with the fun parent." Jessica sighed, "Oh, that JRK. Would say something else, but I have Kenny in hand." Elsewhere Ben was upgrades merged with a camera as Pa Vreedle was loading up his space truck. Pa was laughing, "This is going so great, using my whole kin and taking up all the riches I can, then leaving it's perfect." Ben smiled as he unmerged and head off. Meanwhile above. Boyd and Octagon were in their plumber outfits with a megaphone as Dobby was ripping off hub caps. "Put the caps back, Dobby." Boyd then spoke out, "They aren't worth much anyway, the metal market is in the crapper." Seals was riding an elephant and used it to pick up her brothers and she said, "You two used to be fun." Octagon then pointed out, "We still like to have fun, but there is a limit between fun and chaos." Boyd then raised his hand, "And freeing zoo animals puts us well over the line. They need to breath, you can't keep them, lady, making this totally pointless." Seals looked sad and picked the elephant and said, "Darn it. Okay, back to the zoo, I can't keep you because you lots needs to breath." It put her brothers down. Octagon dusted himself off and said, "If only all our kins were easy as that to deal with. We would have law and order restored." "Darn it, Pa." Ma walked over and hugged them both, "And that darn it Pa line is why you two just became my best ones." "Darn, that's depressing," she said, letting go of them. Boyd held his hand up and said, "Darn right, Ma." He spoke into the megaphone, "Perry, the sigh is not candy, it would melt in the summer. Stop trying to eat it." He then lowered it and said, "And people says I is the stupid one. I don't lick or bite sighs." Jessica held her sword to a pretty boy's neck and said, "Try to take my handbag and friend of your mom or not you lose the hand." Kenny then growled at the pretty boy, making him back up. M.A. then turned and yelled out, "I taught you lot how to treat ladies, that right there is unforgivable, young man." She sighed and cried, "Look what he is doing to my babies." That is when a projection of PA admitting he is using them played on projector and Jessica smiled, "About time, Ben." When it ended, Boyd spoke into the megaphone, "Okay, you lot CPA don't love you now, stop stealing for him and line up. The young pretty boys will be ticketed with cleaning up trash off the road duty." Octagon then spoke up, "The adult pretty boys, well, that is jail time. But that means you will be spending time with Perry." At that point Vilgax's ship came down, and as he came out Mavrital said, "Get the HE double hoxie sticks out of here, squid. We got enough chaos without your green backside." Vilgax looked scared. "Yes Ms. Sorry Ben, I have to go." He then left, making every Tennyson who was trying to control the chaos jaw drop at this. Ben looked to Mavrital, "What did you do to him?" "I mean, I made him explode a lot and he still doesn't run for me." Mavrital petted his back, "Use young yous will learn Benny. Now come on, we got a JRKTO cuff." Later on, while returning to the Vrital home, Kenny in the car said, "Mom, Boyd won't stop touching me." Boyd called out, "Ma, the little guy is a snitch." Ben, Jessica and Vrital got out and called out, "Shut it." Pa Vrital was loading and in the driver's seat, "Sorry Sugar Mammoth, but I am already loaded up to leave." Boyd came out as he said, "Now you stop sweet talking Ma." Octagon held out his badge, as reinstated following our good job in saving people from the incursion invasion. Red spots use under arrest for stealing, blowing things up without doing the paperwork first to get permission, chaos, turning kids into criminals, and as they was your own kids, child abuse. Boyd point to Octagon, "That last one is the big one." Pa Vrital was taking off, "Sorry honey, but I had a pretty boy check my math," he said, hitting a button to drop a bomb only for it to explode on him, making him crash. Ma Vrital laughed, "Ha ha ha ha, you got the one worst at math than you is. Cuff him." Ben became Diamond Head and pulled PA out and made crystal cuffs. "You have the right to shut up. What you say and do will be used against you. If you can't pay for a good lawyer you will get a free one." Later on, Boyd was helping the red spots round up and lock up the depressed pretty boys. Dobby looked to them while being lead up. Boyd looked away, "Don't look at us like that. You warned you, Dobby. Just be good and they will let you out of juvenile detention early." Octagon then spoke up, "We'll get you ice cream if you do that." Dobby smiled and waved as he was loaded up, "Love big brothers." Boyd started crying as the car pulled off. This is the heartbreaking part of the job." Octagon held a hand to his chest and said, "I knows brother. But Wes red spots, we most do our job to make the younger pretty boys want to do it too. The fact we got to put Pa in a cage is a good start. We have to do this so future Vritals will be plumbers, not criminals." Rook was shivering in fear as he heard that, the horror. Octagon, "Now let us go to the apartment, our paychecks lets us have brother, been a long day, let's eat a can of beans and pass out." Later on, in a one-room apartment that was much nicer than the place the rest of their family lived, Boyd was in pajamas laying on floor and he said, "Octagon, you awake?" Octagon in his pajamas on the couch, "Yes." Boyd said, "Why is I on the floor?" The other brother said, "Because we are the place did not come with stuff in it. And while we do has the room for a bed over there. We is still saving up for it. And we agreed fridge for good, then couch, then bed. And while Ben was nice enough to give us an air mattress, your sleep biting popped it." Fluttershy was on the phone walking downtown as she sighed, "Look Mom, Dad, happy you showed up, but I just can't drop everything and come see you." "What do you mean?" "I am a nurse, for crying out loud. I am even on my way to work now," she said, walking into Max's plumbing to go to the secret entrance into the red spot base. She used her shoulder as she checked into work. "No, I can't take vacation days, the red spots medics are in short order. My nurse Hood is the only medic we have on all the time. Freelancer, someone who works for a few days a week of their choosing, that's how we have doctors 5 out of 7 days. Right now I am by myself." "Yeah, makes sense, Breeze would be the one to figure out how to use the phone. No, I am not just going to ask Discord to heal them all." She went to the locker room and said, "He is a chaos creature, healing is order, he does too much order, he will literally die. Yeah, not so judging him now that you know he just doesn't want to die. No, I can't ask the magic users I know to cast healing spells, why simple, they have to understand the biology, anyone who isn't the same species as yourself to cast healing. And if you know all that, you would be a doctor any damn way. She then opened her locker and pulled out her white nurse uniform with red spot badge belt as she said, "Looks, just come see me and my adopted family, easy answer. Now I have to work." She hung up and sighed. Pinkie Pie didn't have this much smothering. She said, going to change into her uniform. Later on in the nurse office, Fluttershy was stitching a wound in Adam's arms closed. How did this happen again? Adam then said, Maud brought her boyfriend when me and Pinkie Pie showed up. They got into and my boyfriend can kick yours as fight. Our egos turned on and next we are dueling with wooden staffs. His broke and he cut me but I knocked his ass out. The yellow mare rolled her eyes. Oh really, now you don't say. Ego, if I had $1 for every time that was behind an injury, I would be able to pay for medical school to become a red spot doctor instead of just a nurse. Now pour the disinfectant of your choice on it once a day. And if it starts turning colors or smelling, go see a real doctor, not just a nurse. Adam got up and left. Fluttershy then called out, "Neck." Hubble walked in, his arm dislocated. In a moment the mare used her arms and her left knee to pop it back into place with a gross sound, and he left. Next. Later on, Fluttershy was arms crossed, blinking as she looked to Jessica, who was embarrassed. "And what's wrong with your right leg again?" She held it. "Well, I got fin cramp on that side and it transferred when it split and got worse. So Ben teleported me here." Fluttershy pulled out a portable x-ray class to look. "No breaks I see, but let me guess, you got the cramp with you and Ripjaws under the ocean again while Kenny was at his daycare." Jessica was red, tapping her fingers together as she said, "I refuse to answer as I may incriminate myself." Fluttershy rolled her eyes, "And I thought me and Discord were weird. This better be the only injury of this kind I get." Later. Fluttershy was pulling spins out of quills out of her sister Dashy's back, lower back. "I know how this got here." Dashy was blushing so much she looked as purple of Twilight. "At least it wasn't my flank again. Hee hee ha." Next on the day had her checking her adopted mother Sandra's wings. "They aren't broken and are this binding marks?" She said, jumping back, turning green and grabbing a bucket. www. She threw up as she said, "Oh gross, why would you come to your adopted daughter when the injuries are formed that nasty?" A hand covered her mouth. Sandra rolled her eyes. "The only other doctors who know wings are vets. And that creepy hits on me despite being married. So my daughter or creepy guy who is one eyewitness away from jail, I am going with my daughter." Fluttershy shivered as she said, "Double gross. I have to go wash my mouth now, don't I?" Sandra then left saying, "I would." Fluttershy's spit looked grossed out as she pulled out a toothbrush. Fluttershy was finally having a low as she sighed, "Gee, working on being a doctor under Red Spot Bill is taking too long. I can only do so much as nurse." Discord then appeared, wrapping her arms around her. "Why hello, nurse." Fluttershy rolled her eyes. "How long have you been sitting on that one?" The Lord of Chaos let go and said, "Oh, longer than my mother sat on my egg. I mean, there is a reason I don't know her. But enough about my mommy issues and my father Paradox's bad choice in women." The yellow mare rolled her eyes as she said, "Yeah, I want to be doctor, not therapist," she said flatly. Discord then smiled. "Well, anyway, I have been doing something the hard way at my dad's request. I've been in this other universe where everything is freaky, like me working some odd jobs." The mare blinked and asked, "Why?" He then pulled out a box and opened it to see a ring with a gem on it. "Why else but to make you MR's Discord?" Fluttershy jumped and gasped, "Oh my. I honestly thought this day won't come unless I was PRGNNT." Discord then hugged her. "If that's a deal breaker, I'll happily do that before the wedding, darling." Fluttershy put on the ring. "Shut your mouth and kiss your bride to goddamn be," she said, grabbing him by the beard to force him to kiss her. She then pushed him away. "Now future husband, please leave on the F clock and it's work time." Discord smiled. "Oh, I like it when she gets bossy," he growled happily before teleporting away. Applejack walked in saying, "Hi sister, I have a burn in a weird place." Yes, me and Alan ran out of pyronite wax again. Fluttershy rolled her eyes. Okay, then get on the table and take it off. I can't believe I just said that to my friend/sister. Life is F literally. Pinkie's family's rock farm had appeared, so she was taking Adam to see her family. With Ware dressed like their Equestria girls' counterparts, Mudbriar dressed in just overalls was looking at Adam. I don't like you. Adam held his laser lance and said, right back at you. He was taking aim. But he stopped. Just give me a reason to fire. That is when they heard chuckling, and there was Kyber wearing a Nematrix with a slime on it. Pinkie Pie rolled her eyes and looked to her family. Relax, he can't do grab but kung fu fight. He doesn't have a monster to use that predatrix for him. If he tries he'll go crazy. Kyber then spoke up, but there is always loopholes, Slimbiote. Skurd rolled his eyes. I have a name, you know. In a moment a root shark-like stone helmet appeared on his head as a slime covered part of his chest and his right arm, making form the elbow down his arm grab a root shark tail. With he used as a WHP, making them all jump as Adam fired his laser lance, blasting the rook off. The pies cast at the fire, never seeing a laser weapon before. Adam took aim. So that's your loophole, only partly transforming so you don't go insane. How can that happen? Skurd rolled his eyes. What am I, invincible? Everyone looked to the talking slime as Pinkie ducked a root shark tail whip, tackling her Brith parents to push them out the way. Okay, so you are the loophole. Wait, you have a brain, you should be coming crazy too. Kyber smirked. Slimbiote's super rare, hardly anyone knows what they can do. In a moment his root shark gear vanished to omnivoracious wings and left arm beak, letting him fly and charge in, rapidly grabbing, pulling free and throwing away Adam's laser lance as he punched the former knight in the head. Should have stayed a forever knight and died like most of them. Adam got up, pulling out a plumber standard side issue pistol as he fired on the Nematrix, hitting it, breaking it, making him lose his weapon. And you need to stop relying on that bootleg watch. Skurd put his hand tendrils on his hips. Hey, I was enjoying that, sir. Kyber pulled out a knife and said, does not matter, we have hundreds more back at my ship. He threw his knife, hitting Adam in the shoulder, making him scream and drop his gun, with Kyber picked up, but first time for an ex-knight to die. In a green flash the anthros and Adam vanished, and he blinked while Skurd laughed. Less speeches, talk is not a free action. Dum dum. The six beings found themselves in the plumber base as Dryba said, so our teleporter works just off on aim. Adam pulled a knife out of his arm and said, thanks man, I almost got my brains blown out. Limestone was breathing into a bag as Marble said, care do explain this, he couldn't use it himself. CRP, he used it just fine to me. Pinkie Pie said, Kyber found this thing called a symbiote. It's letting him pull off partial transformations to keep his sanity while using the Nematrix on himself. Blukik pulled up a picture of the slimebiote on the screen, and Maud, much like Pinkie Pie would, excitedly said, that's it, that's the booger. Dryba hopped to it. Oh, here we go, Slimbiote by being on something they can use its DNA. Pinkie then pulled up blueprints for herself. Mom and Dad, that's the blueprints for building a living thing. Dryba nodded and finished, by being on something they can use its DNA to make armor and weapons for itself or the thing they are on. Well, that explains it. He isn't partial transforming, the slime ball is using the DNA inside the device to make weapons and armor. Adam held his shoulder, so the thing lets him use it without transforming. That is wacky land. It's like Ben with an Omnitrix but not shape-shifting. Blukik then said, the Omnitrix lets Ben turn into other things that have a brain. He is not in danger of losing his mind. It's really fascinating he was able to find one. I mean, its DNA is not in the Omnitrix. Why? Because Asmith couldn't find one. I don't like that. At all. Mudbriar then spoke up, then how about you talk to it? It has a brain and can speak. Surely if I am reading this right and it eats DNA, it would go for a bigger thing filled with it. Pinkie Pie sighed, I hate to say this but he is right. And we know Kyber is going right to it. Ben's Omnitrix. Meanwhile in the streets, Ben as Heat Blast was fighting Kyber with Crapdozer armor as Ben said, hey, I got the report in. Slime face, I have way more DNA than Kyber got. Skurd held where his chin would be. More you say? Bye, he jumped form the Nematrix making turn into a root shark. The slime landed on the Omnitrix and in a moment Ben was ultimate spider monkey. That is when points came out of the Nematrix and Ben said, wait what? The root shark got larger, its head taking on a hammerhead shark shape as it became metal and roared with shark-like steel teeth. It dove as ultimate spider monkey jumped back. The slime said, this is truly a morphable feast. Ben then said, yeah, but you made me ultimate spider monkey and you turned Kyber into the thing that eats me. The metal shark dove again as Ben wall crawled with his spider legs up the side of a wall as Skurd said, what better way to show our superiority over that Nematrix. The road shark came up only for Skurd to form a crystal shield that knocked it back upon impact. It then dropped the shield and gave Ben's arms armadillo's drills. The monkey jumped as he said, okay that rocks. He jumped tackling and drill slamming the collar breaking it making the ultimate root shark turn back into Kyber. Ben timed out as he looked to Skurd on his watch and got him off with a magic bubble, I am married that means you aren't on it at night. The slime shivered, I understand that and what want me to watch the little one while you and your better half play because I don't want to be there for that. None budding reproduction makes me uncomfy. Not that I judge just it's super alien to me as I am sure me ripping off part of myself and it turns into a baby is to you. Ben nodded as he said, total but we do have life forms on this planet that do that they are called sea sponges and starfish. Both have 0 brains. Kyber was foaming at the mouth on his back twicking he was done for now. This ended another BEN10 adventure on a high note. Why because you can reason with the slime ball but not the bad guy. Speaking of which Rook was poking Kyber with a stick nothing was happening, he is as you earthers say heavy fried. Ben was currently jumping in the air as Crash Hopper as Skurd covered his feet in heat blast mazes so when he landed on Steam Smythe's robot squid it was smashed open. Allowing the bug into the control room where the weapons vanished and Ben timed out to look at the steampunk cyborg as Skurd asked, why the bloody hell is he a cyborg that is so stupid? Smythe said, I am no less of a man than someone with a pacemaker of a hearing aid. The slimeball called out, bullshit an organic life form is a mass of germs organic maters organic fluids and organic mass now inorganic gears fossil fuels steam and I am just guessing a hamster on a little wheel. The cyborg crossed his legs and held his fingers interlocked, his name is Hamburg. Ben blinked as he said, okay I can't tell if you are F with us or not so I am just going to start swinging, he said turning into forearms before going ultimate and charging. As Skurd gave him diamond head crystal hammer fist on all 6 arms, yes let's. Steam Smythe ducked and turned his hands into drills to block 2 of the hammers only for his drills to break leaving him handless. He then jumped back and made cannons pop out of the back of his arms to fire only for his cannonball to be knocked away by the hammer fists. That is when the claw hand came out of his hat and removed his shirt to show a hamster on a heel in his robotic chest and he grabbed it in the clamp hand and said, no one moves or the hamster gets crushed I don't need him anyway I just like the cliche is all. Ultimate 4 arms hands were up as Skurd said, how low can you sink? The sad face of the ultimate said, Tella, happy face, portal, mad said, now. Skurd then blinked as he made the hammer hands go away as he grow a little shell shield made form teleportal's DNA and he said, right silly me. In a moment a portal opened up around the clamp hand making the hamster appear on Ben's left shoulder where he got free and ran off. Skurd yelled out, run Hamburg run. Don't look back. Ben then charged as Skurd changed their weapons to armadillo drills on each of the 6 arms, now wreck him for Hamburg. Later on what was left of Smythe was being taken away as the timed out Ben looked to Skurd as he said, and I thought the time beast were messed up. That is a hamster. It reminds me of the silly little cartoon from my youth. Can't remember the name but it will come to me. Skurd crossed his tendrils that worked like arms as he said, yes now less old TV and more oh look, they saw Hamburg with other hamsters riding in a small hot air balloon. Well now how cartoon is that? Fly on little dude fly on. The hamsters saluted they had on little goggles scarves and pit helmets as Ben said, they are going off to help someone without being seen so it looks like a miracle like in the cartoon. Why can't I remember it? Come on Ben, it came from Japan, people were made as they didn't finish dubbing it. It will come to me, he said, rubbing the sides of his head. Skrd blinked as he said, we are binge watching 90s TV network when we get back home. As now I just want to see this cartoon, you speak up. The two walked off as Ben said, why does this feel more F than Time Beasts, he asked as they walked off. When he got home Ben saw Jessica smiling. I finally found my grandma's missing old earrings, she said smiling as she put on the diamond with gold wings earrings. The balloon Hamburg and his fellow hamsters were passing by saluting through the window and Ben saluted back as Skrd said, they were what do you know? In a moment Ben magicked Skrd off his wrist and smiled as he pulled his wife into a kiss. Skrd headed off, well I am off to watch the 90s TV network while you do go off to do things I don't want to think about before Sandra drops Kenny back off form babysitting him in a few hours. Skrd hopped onto the couch and hit the remote and turned on the TV to see that hamster cartoon on, well what do you know? Is this chapter just one big reference festival? Or was that Pinkie Pie's line, he said stopping before shrugging it off. Meanwhile in the plumber base. Rook was working on the prototype normal repair and upkeep. When he pulled something odd out of it. A little golden sphere, what is this? He got up and put it on a scanner and went back to work. When he was done he checked the scan, what is this not known? Could have been from alternate world where we worked with Bright Ben. A different universe would explain this thing. He then sent an email, I will email Ben and I guess he will ask that inter-universe Ben Clubhouse about it. The next day a portal opened to his workshop and a Ben in black pants, purple boots, a white lab coat button, purple gloves on his arms and glasses showed up. The smart Ben rolled up his sleeve to show his Omnitrix an orb of green light in a small wire green frame as he said, Omnitrix display mode, it displayed a match for what Rook found, I am not kidding you when I say this Rook. The smart Ben then point out, that is an element only found in half the multiverse, you don't have the word for it so I won't bother saying it. But it is very common in my universe, even that little sphere is powerful. It is what allows my Omnitrix to be the most advanced model in the multiverse. He said before turning to a purple and silver clock work with the glasses still, his dial being the glowing green ball still, I can't take hold of it as it's not for my universe. But I warn you, letting it be unguarded is stupid. Smart Ben then walked off into another universe with a call of, don't be stupid. Rook looked at it, it was smaller than a marble, this is dangerous how? Twilight walked in taking it as she said, I studied with Smart Ben. This CRP is the most power conductor of energy. If this was in a double A battery it would run for 20 years without being turned off. Like the bunny in the AIDS. Rook blinked as the purple mare said, Smart Ben's universe is the most advanced in the multiverse as it's as common as sand. All their tech is made from it, making it light years more advanced. Their early 70s computers are 1,000 times more advanced to a modern laptop, for crying out loud. She then walked off, so let's put it to good use. She walked into the mainframe, pulled out a board and put the orb into part of it before putting it in, and in a moment the supercomputer in the plumber base was updated thousands of years beyond what it should be in processing space power and speed. Pinkie Pie hopped out of her room to say, hi every pony, before we get to the action a quick reminder, our writer is half-blind, self-taught and dyslexic as it says on his profile, so Mr. Guest Reviewer, what you said was very rude as the disability is publicly listed and knowledge. She then walked back into her room, now on to the chapter. Elsewhere the time cycles were pulling up with Jessica and Ben getting out as Kai Green blinked, but I was about to call you. Jessica rolled her eyes and crossed her arms, we know. This are time cycles, they time travel. We came after your call, now it never happened. Time clearly doesn't care about, so you shouldn't either. Kai was about to speak but Ben said, we know lost temple, lost treasure, we know to you, you never told us, but to us you already did. The ex held her head, my head hurts. Jessica smiled, it's called a time travel headache. Now come on, you figured it out, she said, sighing for her to follow, making the woman rub the temples of her head. Once up a hill Kai saw it, oh, the down is the first marker on my map. I most have come up here for better signal. At least to you guys. Ben tapped his head and happily said, "See, she can learn." Skirt on his wrist finally spoke up, "Okay, I was wrong, sue me." Kai looked to the voice and Ben point to the slime, "Hey, this is a parasite to host conversation." The slime crossed his tendrils, "Parasite BSTRD, I made weapons for you." That makes it a symbiotic relationship, not parasitic, pony boy. Later on, while traveling, Jessica was using Excalibur to hack through trees while Ben as Diamond Head was doing the same. Key had a machete to do so as well. Skurd rolled his eyes, "Why can't we just burn them down? It's not too late, I can be a flamethrower, I'll just use Heat Blast or Swampfire's DNA to shoot a fireball." Ben then point to the animals in the trees, "That would remove their homes. And good guys, we can't do that kind of burn it down to be easier actions anyway." The slime ball rolled his eyes, "Oh please, like they would give a SHT about you." In a moment a stone guardian appeared, getting up as Ben hit the dial to become Blitzwolfer, as Skurd gave him an echo megaphone and sonic scream squared happened, knocking the stone golem back and apart. He put it down and he saw Jessica and Kai in fighting stances, "What, it's old as F. So it breaks easy. Just like that sword Grandpa me and Gwen quested for, by time someone got it, it turned to dust upon being moved thanks to how old it was. It probably wasn't even magic or anything. It was probably just some kind of test since a god guarded it," he said, walking along as they came to a temple and Ben timed out while Kai was looking for a way and Jessica coughed, making her turn to see a portal. Skurd had grown a mini clockwork key on his head, "You need to stop and think more, Ms. Green." They all stepped through into the temple at the treasure and Ben said, "That's no treasure, that's part of Maltruant." Maltruant then appeared and grabbed at a Galvin, was trying to get a mech running but it won't start. Ben held out his hammers, letting him get away as Ben said, "He is in a time loop, it'll be back before it left." Paradox nodded, appearing and grabbing the Galvin, "But you, sir. Your part of the loop is over and you can go home now." The two left through a portal. Kai looked between the couple as they held their stomachs and laughed. "You knew this was pointless going to not get it, and no matter what." Ben laughed, holding his sides as he said, "Yes, but it was her idea to come and see the look on your face." Skurd was even laughing, "Oh, if I could piddle I would have done so." A little form laugher right now. "Thank you, Ms. Blow, being Ms. Tennyson, because you only want a dog. You were so right, this would worth it, Ms. Jessica Jackson Tennyson." Jessica held her sigh and wiped a tear from her eye. "Oh yes, it was. Come on honey, let's go." Ben became portaler and opened a portal for them, but Kai said, "I will find my own way out." She walked off. Jessica rolled her eyes, "Yeah, good luck with that." The couple and the slime then left. Meanwhile, Kenny was in a classroom, his first day of school. The unicorn used his horn to stack blocks in his pre-K class with a smile. Then he noticed some bullies going to knock over some girl's tower, so he held the tower up with his magic, smiling as he did so. The little girl clapped that her tower won't fall down, while the bullies got frustrated, fell down rolling around screaming. The little Tennyson smiled. "Mom and Dad always said bad guys were big babies," he said, smiling to himself. He was clearly a chip off the old block. He said, smiling as he kept holding up the girl's tower and building his own up so it was now taller than him with a happy little hum. He seemed to be humming a little tone about his dad. As he minded his own business, with mostly meant protecting the other kids from bullies. Because little Kenny may only be 3, but he was a smart, good little merman. He only want to be like his dad, a hero. He seemed to be on his way to me. How about you? To be continued. Pinkie Pie appeared smiling, "And that does us for this one. Isn't little Kenny just cute?" Join us next time for a Megan Tennyson chapter. Love you all, bye bye. She blow kisses. She looked to a watch, just filling for time a bit now. He, damn it, then stepped away from the screen, slowly backing away. She said, and backing out of the fourth wall slowly, she said, backing up slowly. She kept repeating that till she was finally gone, finally ending this chapter. Got to love Pinkie Pie, but she can be a pain in the ass to write for and your best friend for needing fourth wall breaks. Megan had hit the teenage years and traded in her old outfit for a tank top, green short shorts and running shoes. She was currently walking around with a handbag. Over her shoulder. She rolled her eyes as guys would walk up and flirt with her. Normally it was Earth ponies flexing, Unshorns showing off magic, or Pegasus showing off wing tricks. She held her face red. Why do people my age act like animals? She said, just sighing. She didn't know if it was because she had human ancestry or Anodite heritage kicking in, but she was the most mature member of her age group. With is why she was single, and she hated it. She sighed. She tried dating aliens, but her last name scared them off. I am going to be alone forever, as anyone I like is scared off by the fact I am Ben 10's little sister. She held her face. She was walking along to one place, currently the woods. She used her wand for light as she entered a cave. Okay, now I am 13, I can handle whatever life throws at me. Not because of my age, but because I am a Tennyson. She walked around and came to gold and jewels. That is when a purple large dragon head came out with green as a second color. Megan said, "You must be Spike the dragon." The dragon raised his kind's version of an eyebrow. Why yes, but how do you know? Megan then said, Twilight told me about you in her stories. She is my adopted older sister. She said, hand on her heart, why don't you leave the cave and come see them? Spike rolled his eyes. Would if I could, but I've grown to large, little one. I can't fit outside anymore. My body is too massive thanks to the amount of treasure I now hoard. The unicorn. Something called a bank. They hold on and guard your treasure for you. Sounds like you could use that. Or should have. The dragon laughed. Why would I trust anyone else with my hoard? The Tennyson looked at him. You are nothing like in those stories where you put your friends first. The dragon said, I lost my friends. They were taken from me and I got depressed. Not even the dragon lands felt like home. All I have now is the pile of treasure. Megan blinked as she said, and what are you going to do with it? Buy a nice home? Buy food? Help others? I take it the answers are no to all, making having the pile of gold pointless. Spike. Spike blinked, seeing an image of Twilight as a unicorn over the lady. You sound a lot like them. Megan held out a hand. Come on, start letting go. So you can leave. I mean, what you are standing on could pay for so much medicines for the sick or give someone a major shopping spree. Spike now saw her as Rarity for a moment. Spike shook his head. I will ask you to stop. You don't know me, you only know Tails, he said, roaring at the end. Megan stopped as she put a hand on his face. Since it was close, but I care. Spike moved his head away, seeing her as Fluttershy for a moment. The dragon growled, stop that, stop reminding me of them. He went to breath fire, but Megan mana domed herself, stopping the attack. As the fire moved around her, she held out 2V for victory hand gestures and called out, sorry, I am too awesome for that to work. Spike saw her as Rainbow Dash now as he shook his head, growling at the memories the little girl was bring up. Megan shrugged as she said, but I will be honest, you are not as they made out, but you are hurting and need to heal. The dragon growled in rage as he saw her as Applejack. The unicorn said, come on, give it up and come out, you will get a welcome back party, I am sure. He now saw her as Pinkie Pie. Spike roared in rage, get out, he said, holding his head and crying. Megan stepped out of the cave and sent a text on her phone, you aren't getting off that easy, Spikey Wikey. Later on, Spike heard voice calling out Spike. He then turned and his eyes widened. There were the main six. Twilight looked at him. How can you let your greed get you like this again, she said, pointing at his size. Rarity was currently modeling a ring. Sorry, got distracted, but you don't mind, do you, Spike darling? It's just so hard to find my birthstone. Pinkie Pie held out a cake with welcome back on it. Welcome back, Spike. Applejack put a hand on his claw. Honestly, come on buddy, we are here for you now. We didn't want to leave you, partner, but we are here now. Fluttershy hugged his arm and said, and we are so happy to have you back, Spike. Rainbow Dash said, come on man. Put this CRP in the bank so you can see the awesome world around you. Well, awesome worlds there are so many now. With so many epic things on them, she said happily. Spike was crying now as all of them just hugged on of his claws. In a moment Spike roared his rapid movement knocking away part of the cave making Twilight dome shield them form the cave in. Spike then noticed that the new hole in the roof was his side and he flew out of it roaring flying off in shock. Rainbow Dash was about to fly off but Fluttershy stopped her sister. No, he needs time, Rainbow Dash. He needs time. They then left the cave of treasure. One member of the Tennyson sisters would be returning. They would find Spike checking up on him every so often to try and help their hurting mentally troubled friend. Meanwhile for the mayor who started this Megan. She was finally on a date. Currently on Earth was Rook, Ben Rook's younger brother. It was awkward, he had the same name as her big brother, but while still a fanboy he was at least nice. She smiled at it, her first date, and her family trusted the boy. How many girls could say that in her footsteps? Rook was currently checking monitors. The system mostly ran itself now thanks to that one little stone upgrade. I should never do a Ben with the most high-tech Omnitrix I have seen. Which should not be as many as I have seen. That is when there was a hack alert by the defense where working years beyond what it could was stopped it, but one function wasn't stopped. Orbit launch happening needs to be stopped manually. Rook checked and saw in the base the cyborg form of Kundo. He blinked as he commented, in Earth terms I am looking at an Amish cyborg right now. He got up and said, it is going to be one of those mind F days, isn't it? Rook then walked over to a cell and sighed, regretfully, I need help. So, he opened the cell and put a badge on Fistina. Fistina, I deputize you. Roboquette, come on. As the robot walked up the woman tackled Fistina and smiled, Rookie and me on date, how lovely. Rook gasped, third person, there is no three-person date. As he struggled, and I have a girlfriend. The large woman put him down and said, silly Rookie, I know he is here to make sure I behave and this is only as friends so I can have closure and move on. Form crush on you, little Rookie, she said pinching his cheek, it shows you the kind of man I always knew you were. Meanwhile, Kundo was trying to hack the system mentally. Give me control over you, machine. He had controls of the wires lifting him. It was the cyber systems he need to spread his virus that won't allow him in. How can your will be greater than mine? I am a MSTR of Ravana Kai. In a moment a panel was cut open and Rook came out with Roboquette and Fistina. The red spot saying, while now are we not a contradiction? Kundo turned making a fist, I know the machines I hate keep me alive. He said in rage, that is why the red spots most pay. If they had not come to our world no one would have left and I would not have had to drag them back. Fistina fired off her rocket fist and said, or you could have stayed at home and mind your own business instead of being supervillain. The MSTR used his robotic arm to do the stone cutter making it cut right through the metal in half down the middle so the fist missed him completely. Roboquette's eyes widened, metal cutter. Rook was firing his prototool but he looked and asked, since when can you talk? Roboquette was moving away to the manual SWCH, last update. The MSTR lowered himself quick going to use the stone cutter with his metal hand but Roboquette ejected his head with had 3 tendrils below it. The head flew and grabbed the SWCH before Kundo swung with his weapon slashing off the tendrils leaving the robot just ahead. Fistina tackled him and got him into a one-armed crush form behind, little Rookie. Get SWCH. An unplugged techno-phobic cyborg. The MSTR used the metal arm to elbow her elbow breaking the arm off freeing him as he span and kicked her into a wall. As much as I hate to say it the robotics have improved my strength beyond natural levels. I will become the demon that shows I was right. Rook took aim. He looked to the tubes or the SWCH and then fired on the tubing and wires breaking Kundo's connections, and you do not seem to understand takeoff. In a moment the base fired up launching up into orbit knocking everyone back. Fistina was large and landed in a corner Roboquette and Rook landing on her as she said, it's okay Fistina play team and keep everyone safe hold on to her and Roboquette plug into Fistina's numb, the head said hooking into the arms as she said, there now you safe little head man. Kundo meanwhile was slammed into a wall face first and knocked out. When it was over Rook got up turned his weapon to sword mode and slashed off the metal arm. He cuffed Kundo to a pipe using energy cuffs around his one arm. Now I believe we can fix the smashed off arm to rearm you, Fistina. She smiled and said, what a gentleman. Later on, Robiquette was hooked up to a new body right as rain, as he said, and that was a thing. Amish cyborg, I will never delete this from my memory banks, he said, using his tendril-like arms to tap his head. I mean, honestly. Fistina was about to get into her cell, but Grandpa Max stopped him. Portal in the form of the Academy's basic training awaits you in a month, Fistina. She smiled. I read spot. She said happily, oh, rookie's parting gift is freedom and new job. She saluted and smiled. You are the man I thought you were and more, rookie. Robiquette then asked, and where the hell is the Amish cyborg? Pardon my long, but he decapitated me technically twice as he cut off my mini spare tendril body. And we are in orbit. We are going to have to use Blukik and Dryba's teleporter to get stuff now when we don't have Ben to think with portals. Rook smiled and pointed at him. I understand that reference. I have played that game. It is proof that working together can make you want to punch someone in the faces. He seemed happy at himself for getting a reference. Max held his chin and sighed, can't have everything. But as for where he is too dangerous to be around tech, so we locked him up in a normal stone and metal prison on Earth. Meanwhile, Kundo with one arm in a normal orange jumpsuit was smiling in his cold steel and stone cell. There was little technology in this place. He was away from it. He was a happy technophobic cyborg. He smiled at it. They call this a punishment. I call it paradise. Now I bet you are wondering where Ben was while all this was going on. Well, Ben was holding a knocked-out Kenny out of a dentist office, as he said. I have never seen someone put up that much fight at a dentist office. And I was bad. Jessica laughed and said, this is why we went to an alien one. But next time we will out the magic blocker back on his horn. Ben nodded as he said, just be lucky undoing the damage, as clockwork got us off the hook, but now we will need to take him to the other alien dentist. On some alien world in a purple forest. Albedo was moving around. He had Bug Brother bootleg Omnitrix on his wrist. He had repaired it and restored it to a proper Ultimatrix to restore his powers, with made him a red-furred white mane and tailed version of Ben's unicorn form. He was currently growling as he used it to become negative ultimate spider monkey, banging his chest as he spat webs and charged with his spider legs at Vilgax. The space pirate summoned an energy shield from his wrist and drew his energy blade as he drew, I am not here to fight you. Copy. Albedo jumped over the blade, timed himself out to turn into negative upgrades. The red and white mechamorph fired off an optic blast, hitting Vilgax in the back, as if I would ally with you. I am smarter than Tennyson and I share his face. You will stab me in the back. Kill me just so you can have the honor of having a close enough to Tennyson's skull on your wall. Vilgax got up laughing as he said, you think I would settle for bootleg? I want the real thing. It's why I would not claim your bootleg to power my bioids. Stop and think. It would have made my army stronger and easier to make. I could have crushed Tennyson under the might of ultimate way big, as he calls it. But I did not betray you for your knockoff watch. Why would I betray you for your knockoff skull? Albedo hit the dial to become evil way big as he went to stomp on him, making the pirate move of the way. You still betrayed me. I only need a moment to free myself, then you could have had your army. We both could have been happy and Tennyson would not have taken my Ultimatrix. He would not have gotten his powers back and beaten you. Vilgax rolled out of the way of the stomps as the alien hit his dial to go ultimate, keeping his evil way big color scheme as he said, you are your own worst enemy and the reason you fail. Why would I work with you again, you backstabbing, pointlessly throwing away victory as again. He crossed his arms to fire his cosmic ray down as Vilgax ran. The ultimate said, I settled for bootleg, this knockoff wasn't even built by me. I improved it but I didn't build it. Those Bug Brothers of the Forever Knights did. They made a way to have an army of shape-shifting warriors, your dream done better by human insect hybrids. The two lowest things around are smarter than you. He looked around the forest destroyed, I know you didn't die by that, Vilgax, show your face. In a moment it was beeping as he roared, "No no no." Moments later he timed out and raised a red mana shield to block Vilgax's sword strike. This equine form comes with mana. Use Vilgax just like Tennyson. I am not helpless while stuck in it. I will hide behind this barrier till my Ultimatrix recharges and I'll change again. And continue this till you fall dead. Vilgax then pulled out a piece of malware, then listen, I have malware. I want him make into armor. Albedo tapped his head, so you can use the suit to absorb mine and Tennyson's Omtrix/Ultimatrixes. Please, you take me for a fool. I should have let that thing die when Tennyson was a kid. Why would I resurrect it? I would say take it up with the purple crab, but he is lost forever in another timeline. Maltruant then opened a portal. I may be able to help with that. Vilgax, come with me, I will take you to Dr. Psychoboss to make your malware armor. Vilgax walked with him saying, "You again?" while following him in. To the portal. Albedo rolled his eyes. The copy walked, his mana dome still up. I am no fool, he said as he walked along the damaged former forest he so carefully destroyed as an ultimate alien. Meanwhile in the Mad Ben timeline in a lap. Psychoboss looked at the malware corpse. Armor please, you underestimate my abilities. Vilgax, I made the Nematrix. It made a human predator DNA hybrid. I studied this and can remake it all I want. I can graft malware's powers directly into your DNA. I can make him part of you, not just a suit of armor. He said, putting machines on malware. Vilgax smiled, yes, that is better. The crab used his lighting to start up a machine. Get into the tube and close the door behind you. Vilgax did as he was told and in a moment screamed as the lighting arc formed the corpse to Vilgax, making red circuit boards slowly appear on his darkening skin. All the while it looked like he was melting. Before long Vilgax was now a pool of black, red and yellow slime before roaring as he reformed into Malgax, roaring as he smashed open the tube saying, "Yes yes," he said as he grabbed the machine, turning it into ash. The grab held out his hands. "No, this is all I can salvage from this timeline." Malgax stretched his arm, absorbing more of the makeshift lab in a cave's Machians become ash as he absorbed them. Then you and they are of no more use to Malgax. The crab growled as he opened his head to fire off lighting. You forget what you have become half. While Malgax's form was glitching out, the Vilgax half was able to form a blaster and fire, shooting the grab dead. As the fusion reformed he continued his meal of the lab's machines. Yes, I most mstr this power to kill Tennyson for both of our parts. He then smashed Malware's corpse. You do not need your former shell malware, you live through me now. He laughed insanely and evil. Before long he finished and said, a portal machine, don't mind if I use it with all the power things malware eat before the fusion. In a moment he opened a red portal and stepped out into the main universe on Galvan Prime, laughing. I shall send you all back to the Dark Ages, he declared, turning all the machines he could into dust and ash. Hours later Ben showed up as clockwork, pointing at him. Yeah, that would work, but he stopped time before Vilgax's stretched arm could grab him. He then fired a time ray at the fusion as Skird asked, and what is the plan then? Ben did not say nothing, but he did walk his left a few feet and restarted time. In a moment Malgax screamed as he glow, returning to the form he had before Ben got the Omnitrix, and Skird blinked. Oh, make him so young he couldn't possible have gotten spliced with Malware's DNA. Oh, clever, very clever, he aid, clapping. Vilgax roared, charging only for Ben in a moment to turn to Humongosaur before going ultimate, where an ultimate fist knocked the villain out, ending the attack. Azimuth walked out and looked at him. Ben said, I will turn back to clockwork and undo the damage, don't worry. He then timed out and added, when I time back in. Azimuth nodded and said, yeah, also Eunice called form her collage, she says she is bring a boyfriend home. I do not know how to handle this. May I speak with your parents on the subject, as they have gone through it more than any other life form I know. Ben nodded and said, sure. Our Ben was currently in a prehistoric universe on his Omnitrix, was smart Ben saying, the time war is in effect till Prime restarts the time loop, we all need to handle the changes. Ben walked around when he saw what looked like an primate, like way bad. Metal skeletal baboon face, roaring clawed 2-finger and a thumb hand. Feet that looked the same way, purple, and a large lizard-like tail, the giant banging its chest, found the disturbance. A moment he hit his watch to turn into the darkness as the hunchback giant tried to step on him. As the darkness he covered himself in a large black spiked dome making it scream in pain as its left foot was now full of holes making it scream in rage. He jumped back and roared, its mouth glowing till it fired its cosmic ray like a laser blast from its mouth, making the darkness quickly turn his dome into a drill to hide underground. Once underground, Ben sighed in relief as he was still alive. The primitive blast couldn't reach him this deep underground. He timed out and looked through his aliens, primate way big. Way savage, more like it. I feel like there is a reference here, I don't know to what though. Ben looked through them. Come on, I already got the thing bleeding out, oh goop, he said, hitting the dial and sliming out the ape, walking off having thought it killed it. So he slimed his way up the tail, up the back, up the neck and into the ape-like ear, where he hit the dial on his hover disc to go ultimate. In a moment the beast was screaming in pain as ultimate goop used acid to burn through his skull into the brain to melt it. Moments later the body fell over, dead form and acid melt brain. Ben quickly hit his dial, becoming stinkfly and flying out, watching the now dead giant fall to the ground. He hit his dial and said, "Smart Ben, Anthro Unicorn calling," and I handled the primitive way big on primitive Earth. Melted its brain with ultimate goop acid. Smart Ben then appeared on a hologram screen projected from it as he said, "Yes, but we still have more timelines to fix. 23 needs help in the world end timeline. Warping you now." In a moment Ben was in a time bubble that took him to the ruins of a city no size of anything but sand-buried villains. He saw a blue version of water hazard called Overflow, firing water blasts at what looked like an undead Vilgax. The zombie looked like the original series version, the left arm gone, the left side of the head was a skull but that said had its one eye. The right leg was like Wise Bone. He charged, going in for a smash with its right arm. 23 soon timed out and rolled out of the way. "I kill all the other zombies but now you won't go done." Moments later Stinkfly flew and landed on the zombie and stabbed his tail blade into the skull. "Well, this is a dream come true without the guilt." He timed out and rolled off the falling now truly dead body. He landed beside 23. The Unicron was clearly panting. "Well, you gave the place a nice lake," he said, pointing to the poodles now boiling in the head of the body start to bake and rot more than it already was. "Well, we brought bacteria to a place that had no organic life left. So maybe it will evolve into a new life form, bring life back to the world." Before the younger Ben could comment, both were warped out of in-time bubbles into a green steel lab where Smart Ben was in a chair looking at them. Behind Smart Ben was a missing wall to the lab and a fallen way bad as he said, "Stupid thing. Ruining the west wing of my laboratory." He adjusted his glasses. "Well, nothing I couldn't handle, but still. Stupid turn of events." Smart Ben got up and said, "I'll warp you both back into the field when you time back in." 23 pointed and said, "Really now? Why aren't you fighting in the field?" Smart Ben waved a hand over his Omnitrix's glowing energy orb, showing billions of Bens. "Can you keep up with which ones of the billions of Omnitrix users need help and win?" "No, then shut your young face. Why are young Mela so annoyingly stupid but young Yents are so nice and sweet? I mean, why? I would rather deal with 10,000 10-year-old Gen 10s, instead of one child Ben." Our Ben crossed his arms and sighed, "I know man, but can we wrap up this time war? I have my sister's wedding to get to. I mean, I can arrive on time at any time thanks to clockwork. But you know what I mean. I am over this time war CRP." Smart Ben sighed as he adjusted his glasses. "We all are. Okay, your watches are back on warping you." He waved a hand over his watch making them vanish. Smart Ben then turned and quickly called out, "Chromastone," taking on the form as he turned to see another way bad firing a cosmic ray. Smart Chromastone held his hands out, absorbing all the energy with his left hand and firing it back out with his right hand at the thing's gut, blasting a hole in its stomach, killing it. Stupid things can't fight against a smart being. Meanwhile, with our main Ben, he was jumping from what looked like a massive mantis, beside a human Ben who was in black pants, shoes, white shirt and a tie. The other Ben said, "It ripped apart my dress jacket." Wait, I go heat blast, you go big chill, I'll superheat it, then you chill it, that makes anything crack, he said, taking on his transformation. He held his hands out, shooting fire with both hands on the mantis. This made the bug turn to go and slash him, only for our Ben to become Arctiguana, who went ultimate and blast ice, making the bug's exoskeleton shatter. Our Ben said, "Well, this was close enough," he said as the inside of the armor plating fell over dead. In the middle of a city. The other Ben timed himself out, this one was right on my doorstep of Counter-Earth. The mega bug timeline coming here. This was horrible. Good luck, Chuck, he said as our Ben was warped out of this timeline into another one. The local Ben then quickly hit his watch to become wrath-roaring as he heard something showing up to see it was Victor. Meanwhile, back in Smart Ben's lab. The mission control for the Time Wars called out, "Anthro Unicron sending you to ponies after people Ben's timeline. Normal Unicron is having trouble against Benzaro." The Anthro Ben arrived to see a normal unicorn him running for his life against the alien Archfianzaro. He has hellfire, he said as the Jarrett-like alien was throwing around ball of black hellfire. Anthro Unicron charged and hitting his watch, "I go XLR8 and distract," he said, taking on the change and zooming around to draw fire. The unicorn hit his watch and smirked as he became Diamond Head and slammed the ground. The zombie was so focused on the lizard the crystal spike that came up and impaled him in the head was missed. Our Ben was in the middle of the time stream as he got a call from Smart Ben, "We found your Skurd. He is in a demonic end of the world timeline." "How do you lose a Skurd?" The Anthro Unicorn said, "I remove him when I want with my magic. So I was putting him on as we entered the time stream to respond to your call, Smart Ben." The Smart Ben sighed as he said, "This is why I dislike magic. My universe doesn't have it, so no universe needs it. It's far away, so even when you find your Skurd it will take 10 minutes to pull you out." He hung up, as our Ben arrived in a grey sand nighttime endless rain of a wasteland. He was walking around fallen New York buildings calling out, "Skurd, Skurd." In a moment the slime ball jumped onto the watch and made Ben become 4 arms, giving him 4 crystal fists. As a 7-foot-tall skeleton with 2 left arms, 1 right arm and a large eye for a head walked up. The demon's eye opened into a mouth and screamed, "Loustae." 4 arms charged, landing rapid strikes with the spike-knuckled hands to the head while avoiding the hands. The eye is the only please with flesh only place that feels pain, Skurd. Also it just said eat soul backwards. Skurd's eyes widened, "You understand backwards long?" The Ben then said, "No, just been spending too much time around Pinkie Pie," he said, using his 3 arms to block the bone 3 arms. Letting his second right land a punch to the eye. The eye was knocked off, making the body fall apart. The eye opened to mouth and roared out, "Yapui." Landing in rumble of a museum, making it get up with the bones of a T-Rex as a new body roaring. It charged as Ben jumped out of the way and said, "The eye is the real body. Everything else is a corpse puppet." Also it said, "You pay. Pinkie Pie, be proud." Skurd changed the crystal arms into what looked like heat blast maces. Then kill it with fire. 4 arms jumped, punching the air to shoot off fireballs, hitting the eye, setting it on fire, making it roar. The little arms trying to grab it, making it fall off and roll in the dirt. In a moment it rolled by into the museum ruble. It came out now with a body of mammoth bones on its hind legs, its natural buried in flesh, while alive toes acting as fingers. Skurd blinked as he said, "What in the world?" Ben hit the dial to become Blitzwolfer as he leaped higher out of the way of the boulder it picked up to throw. People who never seen an elephant skull finding mammoth bones and thinking it was a big one-eyed guy is kind of how that ledge of the Cyclops started, dude. He then let out a sonic scream. The scream knocked the pile of bones back, only for it to grab a piece of twisted stone with metal rebar sticking out, making it a makeshift mace, and it swung the weapon down while charging. Ben jumped back, his Skurd weapons vanishing as he hit the dial to turn to Big Chill before going ultimate. He breath ice fire on. Only for the demon animated pile of bones to break free with a roar, as it continued its swing. Luckily it phased right through as Ben flew. His left arm getting an armadillo drill to land a drill strike right to the eye. In a moment the eye head was drilled, leaving a hole, making the body of bones fall apart into a pile below. Ben hovered as he said, "Man, that thing was tough. I mean, did you see that SHT?" His arm returned to normal as Skurd said, "We aren't done yet, man." Ben turned and flew out of the way of what looked like a purple ray. What looked like a headless man in rag cloths, his shirt open to reveal what looked like a massive mouth in the stomach with a tendril-like tongue with an eye. The eye fired the beam, making Big Chill fly out of the way. "It's a horror show here, isn't it?" he said as he got a feedback left arm thanks to Skurd. He absorbed the blast and fired it back, blasting the thing's torso apart, killing it. "And 5 more minutes till we can leave." Skurd then called out, "To the left." Ben turned, breathing ice fire, trapping another demon in ice. This looked like a nervous system without a body guide by what looked like a massive slug fused into the back of it. Ben looked at it and said, "I feel like I am living a horror manga here. I mean, this would be more at home in one. Manly, that one about the guy who becomes half demon to try and stop Satan but loses at the end. What was the name again?" Skurd was crying, "Why Satan, you Yandra B? Why you had to play mind games instead of face him head on, you chicken SHTB." Ben looked to him and said, "Oh, you watched the anime. Last episode is a trip." In a moment they seemed to vanish back into the timeline as Ben timed out. Ben was floating in it as he said, "Now we wait for the watch to recharge. We head to the start of our universe, face Maltruant and get him stuck back in the time loop. Then we are done. I get to go home showing my family a recording of the Big Bang. And you will get to do the same." Skurd blinked and asked, "Say what?" Ben looked to him on his wrist, "Right, you guys don't pay much attention to the Ben talk. But long story short, the bomb that ends universe also begins them, and after starting one, the aliens send out you guys to spread DNA to start life. You are literally the premarital ooze, and we are going to your home next." Skurd's eyes widened, "Wait, I have all the DNA and the Omnitrix in me in some way. So I am the one who spreads the DNA to make all life in your universe. Damn, I am the start point of it all. I most reign through space with my kind to make all the aliens so there can be you and an Omnitrix so you can take me home." Ben smiled and pointed at him, "Bingo, that's the time loop creation class." Skurd's eyes widened, "It's heavy, man. I mean, I made myself and all the universe. Well, the living parts." Ben nodded as he said, "Yeah, I know, dude, I know. So I got you. Let's complete this time loop and both go home soon." Skurd nodded as he said, "It's funny, when I first saw you I thought of food, but now I know it was fate we meet, so we may make the universe we live in." The shapeshifter then asked, "Was that to me or the watch?" Skurd chuckled as he said, "Goodbye, Ben, it's been a ride and I look forward to our last mission, my friend." Ben and Skurd appeared in the ship before time began as Maltruant had just placed his bomb to the tube. The 3 world makers watched as Ben turned to Chromastone and said, "Alien X sword." Skurd did so as he opened the field just in time to grab it and be pulled out and shot into the white void with it. Skurd yelled, "You said I was going home." He was clearly panicked. Ben became feedback as he said, "You are now feedback it with me." Skurd GRW 2 small feedback arms to help Ben contain the blast of the universe ending and starting bomb. Skurd's eyes widened as it was working as Ben used the power to fly back up the tube, doing a spin as he did so. "Sorry, Maltruant. No messing with our history." In a moment he fired all the power into the evil clockwork. He exploded into scrap metal right away. Ben landed, timing out. Skurd blinked as he asked, "Did you practice this?" He said, confused by who well and quickly that all went. Ben nodded and said, "Big time." Paradox showed up to go hid the parts of Maltruant, starting the loop all over again for the evil time traveler, as Paradox said, "Yes, the Ben's little clubhouse has it, thrills for it." Ben looked to the aliens and said, "Sorry for the mess. I'll just drop Skurd off with his kind now," he said, walking to the wall as Skurd's eyes widened at all the members of his kind waving of him, asking, "How did you get out of your tube, bro? Get back in here. Come on, we got life to make, man, stop messing around. Come home, man." Ben opened a tube as he said, "Do you mind sharing a tube with your cousin little guy?" The other slimebiote then said, "Why not at all, come on cousin. We got things to do, life forms to start, civilizations to kick-start by allowing life to crawl, form our slime." Skurd hopped off his Omnitrix symbol, vanishing as he got in the tube, a moment to say goodbye. "I know we had the formalities beforehand, but thank you BEN10 for being a friend and returning me to my home and purpose." Ben smiled as he closed it. "No problem, now go make life on my planet happen so I can be born and get you back here, starting and finishing the loop." The slime smiled as he saluted the aliens, "Fire when ready, captains." The aliens put in the correct Big Bang starting device. As they said, after the Big Bang happens, clearly this universe will be a MSTR piece. "Mr. Tennyson, would you like to watch its BRTH?" Ben nodded as he pulled out his phone. "You mind if I record?" They then happily said, "Not at all, sir." Ben blinked. "It's weird that I am seeing you as three of my wife. It's funky. I know you're not, and it's just my brain trying to understand a multidimensional form my eyes can't completely see, but still." As he walked off, Skurd saluted and said, "Farewell my bro pony. My brony. Oh cousin, if you had seen what I saw. Thanks to being lost I saw the wonderful universe we are about to make. I know the end results of our work. It's Amazoning." The other slimebiote then pointed and said, "I bet it is, but do keep it to yourself, I do not like spoils." Another one said, "I love them, tell me all you know bro." Meanwhile on the bridge Ben was recording the Big Bang happening and Skurd's kind being sent flying everywhere as he said, "And that's how we all came to be. With help from me and Skurd." He smiled as he stopped recording and put up the phone. He then turned the dial on his Omnitrix till he hit clockwork, and he smiled as he opened a portal. "Thanks guys, but I have to go to my sister's wedding now. She is marrying Paradox's son." Discord brings questions to mind on who is his mother, but let's not go there as they make clear. He opened his portal and stepped out. Sure enough, thanks to a projector, his wedding gift was the image of the Big Bang happening to his sister, who just became Paradox's daughter-in-law. Jessica hugged her husband. "Wow. No topping that," she said, adjusting her hold on Kenny. Gwen then hid her gravy boat as she said, "Just had to top everyone there, Ben." Kevin clapped and said, "I am made he went on this adventure without us." Discord picked up Fluttershy. "Maybe we can all go as a family to see some parts of this universe when me and Fluttershy's honeymoon is over in a month." Fluttershy was red and said, "Big time, see you all in a month." She then threw the flowers. In a moment all the ladies dived, only for Megan to grab them and looked to Rook's younger brother Rook Ben, who turned red. Rook pointed at him and said, "That is a sigh." Only reason Rarity did not get it. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for more crossovers. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author JBoy44 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.